Good timing, oh yes. Great timing. You lucky devil. This is worth 18 submarines. Come on, Mama, let the good times roll.
Damn it, I don't even want to tell you, but I have to. So we're supposed to be splitting the XP.
Oh.
So you guys all have 4 times or as much XP as you're supposed to have.
That does make a lot.
I was wondering why
sense.
you guys were like
Flying.
but the way I remember it, the first time I read it was like everybody gets the full amount of experience. I'm like, okay, cool. They said everybody gets these.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
That was extra easy because you guys were like, you were supposed to be level 1. It says after you beat this boss, it was like your character should be reaching level 2 now. I'm like, oh.
Level 2, they're almost to level 4.
It's like I might have misread this.
But I'm not gonna de-level you guys. I've already done all the work.
I'll fucking quit.
It's like I'm not gonna de-level you, but you might not be getting experience for a while.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm either gonna not award you experience next time you get experience, or I'm gonna have to add, or just
because I'm pretty sure you'll come across if there's anything in there that should get us around to level 3, or you said if you're saying that the normal module is like we're usually ending by level 3.
I'm gonna be honest. This is why I usually use like just milestone instead of like divvying out XP. So
I was just trying to do it by the book, and then
but they gave you a milestone though. So it's like, since it said like, oh, they should reach level 2 like right after this or right before this, just continue on with that and don't worry about XP for the rest of it. So that way you could just be like, oh yeah, we just keep doing things. And if we do need to get to like level 4 for a certain part, it will tell you in the module like, oh, your player should be hitting like level 4 at this point. Then you're like, okay, then guys, hit level 4.
Yeah, so like this is the end of the first part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you guys are supposed to be level 2. So for like the second act, you guys are still going to be over leveled.
I mean, just throw an extra enemy in each one, or like in each encounter. Yeah.
If it's if it throws this boss, give us 2 bosses, or give us
I don't know
like,
about
or
that,
give us a couple of, or like
but
say,
like
give us some
this
minions.
guy, I was like, this guy needed minions, and
right?
Like I was
and
like,
you were right.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely needed minions to keep some shit off
his
of him.
CR rating?
3.
Oh, we outdo that.
You're right. That's one of you, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there could have been theoretically 4 of him.
I don't know about 4 of him.
Is it not? It's not linear like that.
Not quite.
Yeah, not quite. Like a second one definitely would have been an extra challenge.
Yeah,
or at the very least,
his focus is on whoever's in front of him.
Or at the very least,
so
having
3 people that just stand back and shoot each turn.
Yeah, or having a couple of like smaller Kefix.
We just got one guy dipping and dodging, and then the rest of us just shooting the fuck out.
Him and maybe like 2 other, and him and 2 to 3 other Kefix just to occupy shit. But probably no, I wouldn't say any more than 2.
So how much experience for the farmer?
Right. Well, like I just gave you guys like 800 XP for the guy, but I guess it's really 200.
Right.
But also,
I feel like
said,
I already just
like,
got it.
Yeah,
you want me to
until
you want me to subtract?
Because it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, so I guess, let's see here, by the end of the story, is there another? At this point, the player should have reached level 3. Okay.
So yeah, by the time we finish the next part, we should be caught up.
Yeah, you'll be caught up.
We're just really, really good at desert planets.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah, I don't think you're not meant to go to level 4.
Well, that's pretty gay, Grandpa.
So yeah, like You guys are
effectively max level for the module.
Max level for the module.
I was like, after the first
I need to
session,
sell
like,
some
there's no
shit.
way we got that much XP off those little guys. How are we gonna do that? They weren't even that much of a challenge. And then now we're just, everyone's resisting all this radiation.
No, you're resisting a bunch of radiation.
Yeah.
Because
The
you're an
rest of
android.
us are just chilling off.
Yeah, we're
chilling
staying
out.
away from it.
I thought he was so strong too. He had 40 HP and like plus 11 to his attack.
Do you know what your
It's like,
avocado?
God damn, this dude.
It's on there.
Oh.
Yes, I want my avocado.
I was telling Kat, there's a couple of channels that I watch that do like different D&D monsters that aren't like that didn't make the cut to get into 5th edition and stuff.
Okay.
And one of them they have this sultry giant demon man. I think it was called a Death Drinker. It was Death something.
Mm-hmm.
And its favorite thing to do in the war, like it's a CR-17 ridiculous demon. It has unrestricted teleport and unlimited times a day.
Oh, God.
They like to go to Hot Topic and get
Oh yeah. They find the freshest gigantic battlefield.
Uh-huh.
And they make their lair next to that, and they just take all those corpses, and then they make zombies and everything else, get them more corpses, and they make their whole lair out of corpses.
Nice.
But their favorite thing to do is when a fight is happening, they trick parties or like certain party members into thinking they're doing what they want to do. So they'll let rangers sit at a distance and like shoot at them and act like they're getting hurt, or like let the wizards be in the back line and act like they can't get to them by like going up to like the warrior and being like not able to get past them.
Mm-hmm.
And then their favorite thing is to let that go for a few rounds and then just teleport straight to them. So that way they get to see that shock of, oh, fuck, as this gigantic thing murders them in one swing.
Right.
And then it's got a cleave, so it's allowed to take a full other round once it kills something. So basically murders the wizard and then immediately teleports next to the next range guy and then murders him with a swing and then teleports next to another guy. And it likes to also do that with like things that fly, where it'll like act like it can't reach them and it'll like try and throw shit at them. And then right when they think it's getting cocky, they're like, all right.
That's the weirdest thing to me.
Oh, how these creatures reproduce?
Yeah, so their reproduction, like they have a whole section in it because from like an old like 3.5 book.
God, well, yeah, there you go. If it's from 3.5, it is fucked up.
Their beige personality, they think they're perfect in every single way.
Mm-hmm.
They're very vain and they're just absolute anything.
Yeah,
right.
And so they have a full section on how it reproduces, which that's not the weird thing. It's like, okay, they have to get they basically make a stew out of death.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to have their undead minions constantly turning this giant, who knows how large of a pit of bodies that's like a slosh of everything, and they're constantly feeding new bodies into it.
Uh-huh.
And then they put their own blood into it. And then that will, given enough time and stirred well enough, eventually form into a new Death Drinker. But the book does also, like, they do also make note of, because of how vain they are and they're feeling that they are perfect and the epitome of whatever, there has never been a confirmed time where a Death Drinker has ever reproduced. None of them will have admitted to ever reproducing because they don't have a genetic need to reproduce. And because they're so perfect, they don't ever have
or
that.
their view of it is like, why I don't need to make something more because it's me.
And they're aware of how other Death Drinkers also think that they're the best, but they're obviously wrong because I'm the best. So why would they ever make another one?
So somebody's tried asking them, and they said,
it's kind of like when I read about how red dragons are like always like, no, we want to hoard all of our shit, but we're also keeping tabs on other red dragons. What are red dragons? What do the other dragons do?
Capturing them reproduce.
Yeah.
Somebody talked about it.
Somebody
had that weird information, or just made it up. So like that's not actually confirmed. So we
right.
Have real confirmation.
Yeah.
So
it's just what someone eventually said.
I mean, and it's oddly specific enough to be taken as true, or at least maybe like you've had at least 2 or 3 other like lesser demons talk about it. Like the story adds up. Like, oh, these 3 things like all have the same story or some shit like something. And I was like,
it's just super. Yeah,
I'll never admit to it.
Yeah, it's just so funny that none of them have ever been recorded to have been caught doing it or will have ever admitted to it or anything, even though they are like a fun thing about them that was like a nice like plot hook of like, oh, how can you use them as kings are known to like send droves and droves of treasure and envoys, because every envoy that goes in the lair dies.
Right.
And then just like slaves and everything else to get them to think like, oh, they're my like this king is my biggest fan. And then the king will eventually be like, man, this guy on the east, like on the eastern front, he's been bothering my kingdom for hundreds of years. Like we've always been at war, and I've been trying, but I just can't seem to get it. And he's like, yeah, you're pretty pathetic. He's like, I know I'm pathetic. Like I know, and it would be fucking nothing for you to take out that whole thing. And the demon's like, yeah, you're right, it would be. And he's like, and that just sucks. He's like, you know what? I'll do that for you, buddy. And then just wipe out a continent off of the thing of, well, it would just be so nothing for you. And I'm so pathetic. I can't do it. And he's like, well, you are my biggest fan, so I'll do you the solid because it would be nothing for me. And then it's like 9 years of war.
How can I use this for your party? I'm like, to lose to? It usually seems to be the consensus.
Right.
You don't win.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to a buddy, and he told me about this thing called the false.
It's like that's the false Hydra.
Yeah. I was asking a buddy, like, hey, what are some cool D&D monsters that I could use? Because I was looking for something for like when we eventually do Pathfinder and stuff. And he brought up like, oh, the false Hydra's so cool. And he described everything to me about it. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, that's all super cool and like Cthulhu-esque. How would I have my party deal with it? And he's like, oh, right. You wanted something people could fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Something you could do anything about.
Yeah, not something that you just...
Like, Dusty, the false Hydra is this weird creature that the big thing that makes it mysterious is that it sings a song that has no saving throw that makes it imperceivable.
Okay, so it's always imperceivable.
If you've seen it, which means that it stopped singing for a moment to grab somebody, as soon as it starts singing again, which only takes like a round, because it starts after it's eaten, you forget all about it. You also forget every person it's eaten.
Yeah.
Is this sound-based? What if you don't have ears?
That's the only thing that can save you from it, is being completely, profoundly deaf.
Yes.
Not even earplugs. Profoundly deaf. And nobody has any concept. So people are just like wandering around the town. Like that's what makes it cool, in that it's a scary thing of like, you come across a town where there's a guy who's like throwing out a bunch of women's clothes. And then you're like, why are you throwing out all these clothes? He's like, I don't know. They were just kind of fucking in my closet. I don't know. And then he's just throwing it out. And it's because his fucking wife has gone missing and he has no concept. And eventually it just kills everything and then makes everybody that's still alive.
That's just a boogeyman you can't be.
Yeah, it's a boogeyman you can't do anything about. And I was like, so this is all super cool. How does my party fight it? And the guy was like, oh, right. You wanted something to actually engage with. And I'm like, that was supposed to be this whole conversation.
A special weakness where you have to craft some special.
Well, it's also why because like the false Hydra thing was like it was a big thing going through.
Like that would be cool. But yeah, and like the thing that makes it even worse is like only the young Hydras have the vulnerability because it spawns multiple heads as it grows. And only one head hunts at a time, really, unless it's super.
So one can sing while it...
Yeah. So once it gets past a certain size, it doesn't have any weakness. Because it's just singing from like 2 heads and eating from 3.
Jeez. What kind of what time? How long does this go?
As long as you want to go, man. Yeah. We're done.
Oh, you don't work tonight?
Nope.
Oh.
Anymore.
He's done with the third shift stuff at the.
He's doing the fireman stuff. Right on.
So now he just has to get up in the morning and go get yelled at by a guy who wants to steal a T-Rex.
Yeah. By the way, I can't really get off work from most of these, so I probably won't be doing many in the future unless I get on first shift or something. Just because.
Right.
I'm not working many weekends though, so.
So what days do you have off?
Mostly the weekends now. I mean, when I do work the weekend, I might get Tuesday off in that, but I don't know. I only work like once every 6th or 7th weekend.
Okay.
It ain't nothing that matters, but if we ever do, like, if you ever want to, like, just, if Will can't show up, I can throw together, like, a one-shot and do these sometimes on Saturday. It doesn't really matter that much to me.
And I'm just a 9 to 5.
So what's next, Dusty?
Um,
We slew the thing. We know it's worth a lot, but I don't know if I really want to carry around anything radioactive.
right, and like it's freshly dead, so it's either gonna take a lot of work to like scrape out its corpse, or you guys are gonna have to wait.
Well,
Like I forget how long.
that's the thing. We came here for a reason.
Yeah.
Put the suit on, push it up against something to hide it a little bit. This is like the other 8 corpses we've stashed away. And then we keep moving looking for this android. Unless we think this thing ate the android, which I guess that means we gotta gut it now to see like if we can find the treasure map inside it.
Okay, so you stash the corpse.
And start looking for signs of.
Wait, who stashes? Well, I guess. Looks like Bill probably takes care of it.
Are you gonna make me?
I mean, if you're not gonna do it, I'm just gonna push it off to the side.
We don't play.